Okay, it's that time. It's that time of year. You know what it is. Come on, you know what it is. You know the big event, the thing we do every year. Yeah, BBB. Hello everyone, welcome to Big Bot Bash number 3. It's the Big Bot Bash.
Bill has once again provided the entire world with an interactive junk bot generator. Characteristics of the bots are determined by rolling a 20-sided die. Here's what I ended up with for this year. Head, broken. Body, rounded. Arms, wires, legs, centipede, flavor, medic. Let's get to work, but first, a haircut. That's better. My neighborhood is littered with all kinds of treasures. Parts and pieces that I know will be just right for this build. I'll also search my bags of parts and pieces for other parts and pieces. In the UK, parts and pieces are known as bits and bobs. I'm kind of jealous. I want some bits and bobs. Alrighty, here's a quick sketch of what I aim to build. Let's see how I do. We'll start by sanding down all the plastic. This allows the surface to accept paint and glue much more readily. We've got a rounded body. Next we need to make a head, a broken head. So let's break it. Oops. Nope. Sorry about that. All right. Still not broken enough. Almost. A little melty melt using some household fire. And voila. Our broken head is complete. Round body? Check. Broken head? Double check. Now it's time to install 10 legs, and I've made this pattern to help me do just that. I'm using the pointy end of a shish kebab skewer to widen the holes in my template. The template is then positioned and carefully taped down, and then all points are marked out with a marker. Looks good to me. Now let's drill out some leg holes.
You're a leg hole.
All 10 holes are drilled out by hand, and then will be fitted with these little plastic grommets. I need to make the holes a little bit wider so all the grommets will fit. There we go, nice and snug. All right, let's install some grommets on this little robot. There we go, all 10 grommets installed. Each grommet is then superglued into place. Next, I'll be scribing a line around the body of my robot. I don't actually have a scribing tool of my own, so I'll be using a drywall screw and some scrap boards. Not too bad. It should work just fine. Now I'll do the same thing for the arms. The holes are drilled and then fitted with a couple grommets. Next, I'll use these 2 plastic bottle caps I found during one of my neighborhood excursions. They'll make perfect little mounts for the arms of my robot. Why does this look familiar? Oh, interesting. I'm using a handful of finishing washers to provide some detail for the leg inserts. They're a little tricky to install, but in the end, they turn out looking pretty cool. Now it's time to make some legs, and for those, I'm going to use this here piece of wire. And there we have 10 legs. Oh, somebody's excited. Each leg is now inserted into a socket until all 10 legs are installed. Each leg is then positioned until I have a tiny robotic jellyfish. All 10 legs are glued into place, and now it's time for beads. Each leg gets a bright blue pony bead, which is then also glued into place. For a little more detail, I'm adding some more pony beads. That's looking pretty cool. To make the feet, I'm using these tiny wooden balls and these little tiny wooden spools. The bead and the spool are glued together, and I make 10 of these. Because there's 10 legs, so he needs 10 feet. Yeah. Okay. Here they are, 10 robotic feet. Off camera, I decided to glue more beads onto the feet for visual interest. Time to attach the feet. It's feet attaching time. Whee! A couple drops of super glue keeps everything in place. And our centipede robot now has its 10 legs. Let's move on to the arms. We'll be using the same wire I used for the legs, as the theme for the bot's arms is wire anyway. So yeah, that works out. We'll come back to the arms in a minute. I'm building the broken head from a bunch of broken parts and inserting an electrical lug, which looks like some kind of sci-fi robotic sensor. I then attach a couple little wooden thingies to make some robot eyes, as well as another wooden thingy to make a little robot part thingy. Next, I'm installing a little vent port over a pre-drilled vent hole.
You're a vent hole!
Every robot needs some type of ventilation system to expel all that unwanted gassy buildup. To build hands, I'm using a couple plug covers as well as a couple more pony beads. The head is almost done, but first I think I need to add a couple antennas. I made these antennas from wire, springs, and beads. I then glue them in place on top of a couple finishing washers and added a single push pin just for fun, because nothing's more fun than a push pin. The building of my robot is complete, and now it's time for some paint. I start with a coat of gray primer, followed by a coat of white primer. I let everything dry overnight, and then it's time for some more paint. To simulate corrosion, I use a little bit of this stuff and a little bit of this stuff, and then mix it all with paint. This then gets brushed on in areas where corrosion would occur and forms a nice crusty texture when dry. I've printed out some numbers and symbols, cut them out, painted them, and applied them to the robot after soaking them in glue and water. Now he's looking medical. After the appliques are dry, I dry brush them with a bit of white paint, which gives them an old, faded, weathered look. Off camera, I installed the head and painted some more details. I also made a little syringe and a tiny tongue depressor made from a coffee stirrer. Say ah. Say hello to Dr. Robot 45. I hope you enjoyed my contribution to the Big Bot Bash number 3. And I'd like to say a special thanks to Bill at Bill Making Stuff for making this happen every year. And please go have a look at the other participants' creations. The robots are pretty rad.